first. I can't promise to buy you a Coca-Cola or a bag of flaming hot Doritos, but I can say thanks for subscribing. My synapses blaze, misfired and bonded and disjoined with some eeriness. I turned on the faucet, filled the little silver kettle, and set it on the stovetop. The blue flames made me forget. How did I end up here? What hellish nightmare have I caused myself? I stared at the burgeoning kettle. My mind replayed yesterday, scattered of notions in a jumbled brain, lost in mundaneness, which morphed into madness. The kettle rumbled with puffs of steam and spewed water. I tried to guess or feel a premonition of when the kettle would whistle. My thoughts seemed strange and muddled with the recent events. A spot of calming chamomile tea is necessary right now. I need to tell someone. I have little time left. It is to fight what they want, then a fight is what I will give. Remember me if I lose, and cheer for me if I win. There's that voice again. That voice won't let go. It keeps getting stronger. I want to silence it. Is it the voice of reason or of my willingness to help others? A strange and familiar force tried to tell me of my mistake, of pretending. I should never have pretended to be what I'm not. Nevertheless, remember to steer clear of the gutter line, which leads to a deathly slope when you seek to pretend to be something you know nothing about. I pretend to be a psychic, a con for monetary gain. Things could be worse. At least I'm not a thief. I did not want to do psychic readings, but I fell into it. The correct words came easy to me. I constructed the perfect atmosphere, a tidy abode, decorated with bohemian flair. People arrived and inhaled the herbaceous exotic scent of patchouli that filled their senses. I thought I would fall prey to a horrifying fear of falling into the trap of psychic abilities because of my persisting, nagging conscience. But money trickled in and made those fears disappear. The goal? Stay uncorrupted. Stay on the path of good and continue to act in integrity. Despite the woeful deeds and questionable actions, I wanted no one to condemn me. The unfolding of recent events blurred fear. You know you want to ask me a few questions. Questions like how a nice person who helps others and gives to various charities ends up pretending to be a psychic for money. Well, my life circumstance. I suffered an on-the-job injury. The company I toiled my life away for turned on me when my injuries proved genuine. Yep, actual trauma caused by physical problems. Sometimes the pain hits harder than on other days. The company jerks lied, faked evidence, and bought off my lawyers to win their case. The injury left me a little cash flow lacking, challenged, and disintegrating. My injuries made it difficult for me to find work. I worked odd jobs after crappy jobs, but the worst one was a coffee house. Amazing! How hard is it to work in a coffee house? It's hard to work in one. Some people make crazy orders. They want their mocha latte, hold the milk, add 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds, and hold the sugar, but I'll take agave order correct. The worst part isn't the order. It's the freak out from getting the laundry list of wants wrong. How do they know it's wrong anyway? A friend noticed my dilemma. She told me to try something different, become a fake psychic. The easiest part of the job is to tell people what they want to hear. You bring them joy and never sorrow. It's a peaceful work. I can do it from home. One rule to remember and follow. Above greed, never take a threat to gain money. Never make a threat to gain money. None of that. You're going to have a dreadful car accident if you don't bring me my $50. Conducting a business like that is so rude. The second rule, do not extort the aged. The police have never arrested me. I have never once extorted anyone. People I have tricked never filed a complaint. Yesterday, a man who seemed kindly and frail named Klonuch made an appointment with me. He bore the look that death leaves on the living when one loses a loved one. His well-tailored suit contrasted with his fire hydrant eyes and nose. We sat and conversed. The kindly, delicate man wiped his face with a thick dishcloth a few times. Clenach wanted to dance with his wife, Cosby, one last time, to be with her one last time. He and his wife practiced some sort of mystic art. They once belonged to a secret worship group of Orthon. The leader often communed with spirits. This reading was perfect and seemed to be getting better every moment. I knew little about channeling anyway. I didn't have to explain anything to him. I would have looked into the cult if I had known better. And who names a baby Clenach or Cosby? What do those names mean? Clenach wanted to channel his deceased wife. They met in grade school, became childhood sweethearts. He proposed to her while sharing an ice cream sundae, her favorite dessert. Their marriage lasted for over 69 years, until the day before yesterday when she died. Clenach never left her side the entire time she belabored death. He found it hard to let her go. To him, they did not have enough time together. He came across my advertisement in the phone book while making funeral arrangements, so he said. My ad reads like this: to make me sound like I am from greatness. I perform psychic readings. My name is Madame Nostra, a true descendant of Nostradamus. I can channel spirits from all 17 planes, speak to loved ones again, find out where they hid items and money. I can help you by appointment only. Call me now. Clenach tried to stifle his wailing as he wiped his face again and again with the towel. Something did not seem quite right. I could not put my finger on it, but something about him unnerved me. My phone rang during our wailing and consoling session. Clenach tried to pull me back to my seat. He grabbed my arm with considerable force when I stood to answer the phone. I looked into his eyes and said in a soft and sympathetic tone, "I'll only be a moment. Would you like me to put your towel in the dryer?" The phone ringing helped me to break free from my feelings of sorrow and empathy for his situation, to not succumb to the guilt for what I planned to do. It helped me to stay focused on the prize. I told myself to get the money for channeling his deceased wife, Cosby. We needed to negotiate the exact sum of money. I wonder what it would be worth to him for me to channel her. Oh dear, all right. No thank you to the dryer. He sniffled and wiped his face as I walked to the phone. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed him moving, rising from his seat. He adjusted something inside of his coat. I'm not sure what I saw, but it had a metallic flash. When I looked over my shoulder, he hurried to sit back down as he shot me a boyish grin, more like a devilish smirk. I answered the phone to screams which almost ruptured my eardrum. "Hello, hello!" She was so loud I had to hold the receiver away from my ear as the voice identified herself as Cassandra. She spoke as fast as a misfiring Gatling gun, frantic, tangled, almost breathless, and shouting nonsense. What I understood before hanging up, she screamed, "You are in danger!" I shook my head and stared at the phone. From the same voice as the call from the day before yesterday. A second panic-stricken call. In the previous call, the troubled voice instructed me, "Do not do any readings for killers." What could be the harm? Clenach, a frail old distinguished gentleman? Doubtfully she spoke of him. I walked back towards him, holding my teapot with a big smile. I'm not a bona fide psychic. I have trouble turning the channels on my smart TV, let alone channeling a dead spirit. I thought her to be yet another cuckoo or competitor. No way would Clenach, a grief-stricken, distinguished widower, dare harm anyone. I wanted to give him a great show. I mean, an ultimate dance with his wife. No threats or any heavy stuff. I always use soft sweetness to sink them. When I finish channeling Cosby, Clonach will have what he came here for. So I thought. I'm so sorry about that. I have many people who respond to my ad. Red-eyed, he wiped his face again and let out a deep sigh. Will you have time to assist me? His weak voice sounded so pathetic. It almost burdened my heart. I do have a few appointments for later. Would you like to join me in a cup of chamomile tea? It's almost ready. Tea sounds nice. His eyes brightened and the corner of his mouth turned up as the tremble in his voice dissipated. How do you take it? Plain and hot, please. No milk? No honey? No tea only, thanks. I brought the teapot to my end table and poured our cups. I moved his sniffling towel to make room to place the cup. Odd. His towel was dry, but we've been talking for a long while, so maybe that's why it was dry. So it did not surprise me that the towel was dry. I sat in my chair. I felt a pinprick on my ass. Ouch! What happened, dear? I reached back, removed, and examined the offending pin. I did not look like any pins of mine. My pins have a shiny pink ball on top. This black stick pin with a red ball on top was nothing I'd ever seen before. I shrugged it off and placed it on the table between us. Nothing, a straight pin stuck me on my rump. He laughed and remarked the tea did not smell like chamomile. Of course it is, I assured him. It was chamomile tea, although I did not tell him I spiked it. My dealer sells the best hallucinogens this part of Venice Beach. If I had only known the dire nature of my circumstance, I would have told this man to leave. We talked on and on about Cosby and him, with me refilling his cup once without him asking, twice with him wanting more. His speech became slurred, a perfect time to discuss the money to channel his dead wife. I gave him an endearing look as I told him, it is very taxing for me to channel some spirits. I scrunched my face, stared into his eyes, and used my hypnotic tone of persuasion to get another yes from him. A person needs to agree at least 3 times to seal a deal. He offered me $2,000. My eyes widened, knowing I would have taken half of that. I placed my hands on my face, covering my eyes, along with my smile. I regained my composure. I leaned in closer, dead-eyed him, and tried to sound exacerbated by his lack of understanding. Clonach, I don't think you understand what I will endure bringing your dead wife into this spiritual plane. Through the fading haze of the tea, he became vexed. He demanded I take his last offer of $14,000 to channel his wife. Do it now, or... He looked down, slumped-shouldered. His eyes watered. Please. So I started. I stood with my feet planted, stretched out my arms, and lifted them to the ceiling. Took a deep breath. I chanted some mumbo-jumbo and jerked my body. Cosby, come to us, Cosby! Yes, my love, come to us! Clonach stood up and lifted his hands with bright, excited eyes. My body jerked from side to side. I could not control myself. I stumbled back and almost lost my balance. Cosby, I call you from the death plane into this plane. My voice sounded raspy. My vocal cords felt thick and clabbered. Clonach stirred fear in me with his ever-widening smile. His face looked perverted, distorted, and inhuman. Curiousness rose inside of me and engorged my insides. Warping the spaces between me, it ran bigger, a sudden flash of a cramp in my spine. The pain ran around to the front of me. It felt intense when it slammed into my womb. I struggled to regain myself. The more I fought, the more it fought me. The weirdness. A fight of tugs and clash for the essence of me. My body convulsed. The more I tried to speak, the more the words stuck in my throat. Cosby! Slow drawl created a spasm in my back. My injuries were on fire and pain bolted through me. Staggering and swooning, I struggled to keep standing, but my body writhed. My mind raced with thoughts of why. When I received the first call from the crazy lady, why didn't I decline the appointment? I needed the money. My income issue became graver by the day. Then as suddenly the pain has touched me, it subsided. My eyes rolled back into my head. I felt something different. I extended my right hand to him, offering a dance. His face beamed, and he wiped away his tears as we danced. He hummed in my ear a beautiful tune. A subtle scent of bay rum mixed with a hint of tobacco enveloped my senses. Kalanach continued to twirl me around and around, dizzying me as the world blurred and faded into nothingness. The unfamiliar tune vibrated within me. He kissed me as we hummed. He pulled me ever so close to him, our bodies sealed together as one. Then I felt it. A shiver bolted through me, consuming me. I ignored it at first, caught in the clutch of his dance. A warming calmness poured over me, through me. We continued to dance like a dervish as a fire blazed through my guts. The warm, wet liquid gushed from my right side. What had Kalanach done? His bright eyes held an unusual glow. His exuberant face froze in euphoria. He eased me onto the floor. How many times he stabbed me I could not say, or what the strange words he chanted meant. Plunge chant, gush plunge chant. A firestorm of pain made caustic ash of me. Through my delirium I kicked at him. He straddled me and laughed. I faded in and out of consciousness, seeing images of some odd-shaped creature. I tried to get off the floor, but the creature pushed me down. Cosby, are you in there? Are you in her? He shouted while he stood straddled over me, with a bloody dagger clenched in his fist. An odd feeling flowed through me, and a raspy voice replied, Yes, my love. I'm here. But so is she. Kalanach extended his free hand, helping us to my feet. He pulled us into his loving embrace, his breath warm and sweet as he kissed my lips. His body felt familiar. He whispered, She'll fade away soon, dear. We danced slow, sweet, and close.